Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz Interview Series with LA-based jazz pianist, composer, and educator Sam Hirsh. His latest and impressive 2020 CD called Quite Frankly, Introducing Sam Hirsh, is something you need to go out and get and listen to over and over. He's been an active and in-demand member of the Los Angeles jazz scene for a decade and is gaining recognition for his soulful and energetic sound. He has been described as a seasoned artist with a perpetually old soul, and he aims to carry on this tradition of his that his predecessors have set, and he is also creating his own unique voice in the world of music. He was born in Kyoto, Japan, grew up in Portland, Oregon, and he began playing piano at the age of 4. He's classically trained, and he began with his jazz playing his freshman year of high school, influenced by his father, who is also a jazz saxophonist. He's been around, and there is so much more to do. So please get to know Sam and dig this interview, my friends.
CD sent in the mail about a week ago, and it just does not leave my CD chamber. I just totally love it.
Are you kidding me? Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for saying that. Wow.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, it's so hooky. It's so, it's straight ahead. It's modern. There's just so many elements of it. There's so many traces of great cats throughout history that clearly influenced the way you've decided to not only play your instruments, but to orchestrate sound that you're making.
Wow. That means so much, Joe. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we should just go ahead and start at the top here. Sam, thank you for taking a minute out to speak with me. It's an honor. I appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great.
You bet. So let's talk about, Quite Frankly, great album, great sound, start to finish. Talk to me a little bit about your artistic vision for this project.
Wow, this album been in the works for physically about 3 years, been workshopping these tunes around LA at different various clubs and getting the arrangements together. And, I come from this very straight-ahead background. I have to have the swing element in all things. But I don't really want to go down the swing path necessarily. I really want to have my own unique voice in the art form. So just coming up with pretty simple melodies. I don't know if you know, all of my compositions are pretty melodic and simple, and I just want to be able to relay the message of just beauty and love, and through these simple additional melodies. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And the cool thing is, the further I go down this path of covering jazz, I realize more and more, as somebody that just listens to music, it's a little different. My ear and my brain's different than a musician's. But whenever I hear jazz players talk about having a conversation, that's what you're doing. What you're doing is exuding what you have within you, and that's very clear and very evident. What you just said nails exactly the way I feel. And that there's so much music I dig listening to, but your kind of music, when I put that in, every single time I'm going to hear something new. And that's why we listen to music over and over, because it's fresh, and it's fresh every time. If you can do that, it's like being a visual artist and giving something to somebody that they want to see every day. Even though it's the same image, you're still going to wake up and you're going to feel it in a different way every day. And there's something special about that as a creator.
Absolutely. Oh, that's lovely to hear you say that, And my overall goal is to make it accessible for everyone, not just jazz listeners or players, but people that listen to all kinds of different music, don't listen to music at all. Maybe they can grasp on to just soulful quality of my music, and being accessible to everyone.
Yeah, and that's the way it feels. And speaking of accessibility and where you're at right now, you have an interesting path. You were born in Japan. You were raised for a while in Portland. Now you're in LA. Talk to me a little bit about your beginnings and your path to where you're at.
Wow. Well, my dad moved to Japan from Chicago to play music. He's a saxophone player, a jazz alto player, in the bebop tradition. And he went over to play saxophone just around town in Kyoto and Osaka, and met my mom and had me over there. There's stories about him putting headphones on my mom's belly, so really I've been listening to this music before I was born. And we lived there for about 4.5 years before we moved to Portland, Oregon. And I was just playing classical music, watered down versions of classical pieces, and doing recitals and all this kind of the traditional path that one would take. When elementary school came along, I started playing the flute, and that led to the saxophone in middle school. And I auditioned actually for the high school band on saxophone, and I got in, but the senior piano player was just leaving, and my dad was just telling me, there's one saxophone player in the household might be enough. Why don't you try playing the piano? You'll get more gigs that way, and so I started playing, just standard boy things, taking some jazz lessons with a great pianist in Portland, George Mitchell. And I got the chair on my high school band, playing jazz, learning tunes. My first love of jazz was Sonny Clark. My dad had all the great, he still does have a great collection of Bird and Coltrane, Sonny Rollins, because he's a horn player. Sonny Clark was a big part of that tradition, or the collection there. So I picked that up, and I didn't look back. I, went to community college and played piano, and then I went to USC, and I majored in jazz piano performance. And, 10 years later, I'm here. LA's been really good to me, and I've become a staple of the jazz scene here, and with my own group, and as a sideman to various vocalists and big bands and quartets and quintets and different things. So I've been very fortunate to have this path and this really, really great career.
So yeah, right on. Yeah. So who have been some of the mentors and some of the best advice you've gotten up to this point?
Oh, wow. Well, I'd say Alan Haskell was my greatest teacher to this point. I took lessons with him at USC. He's one of the main faculty members there, and he really opened my mind. I had a very strong, actually, before I mention Alan, there's a story comes up. I attended the Port Townsend Jazz Festival in 2009, and I was placed in the top combo that was led by Benny Green. And he was teaching all of us, all Art Blakey Jazz Messengers songs to us by ear. And the piano part in particular, he was really hard on me to get exactly the right things down by ear. There was no music involved. And I practiced it, but I didn't practice it as hard as I could have. And I came to rehearsal the next day and didn't have the music exactly the way he wanted it to be. And he said, Sam, in his very gentle tone, he said, Sam, if this was the real world, you'd be fired. No. And he brought me to tears, actually. I was, 18 years old and had never gotten advice like that, ever. He brought me to tears, and I really practiced it so hard the next night, and the next rehearsal came by the next day, and I got it down. And that was such a memorable lesson for me to go through that with Benny. And to this day, every time I see him, I bring up this story. He doesn't remember it. He's seen so many students since. But that was a pivotal moment in my understanding of what this music means to cats, how deep it can actually get. So that was really the beginning of that journey. And then getting to college, setting with Alan Pasqua, who's a great pianist here in LA, and known internationally. He played with Tony Williams and various acts, but he would just open my mind to things outside of straight ahead, different fields. I hadn't checked out Chick or Keith or even Herbie for that matter. So just opening my ears and my eyes to those kind of sounds and that touch. And, you can be a more well-rounded musician overall. You just listen to more music and really think about this stuff. He brought me to tears a couple times too, with his lessons. He was a pretty hard teacher, but just learning different Bill Evans tunes and different keys, and just really, he was a great experience to be there and do that. So I'd say Benny and Alan.
Have you always felt good on stage? Has it been a second home for you?
Yeah, I think so. I get nervous up until the second I hit, and then once we hit, it's all good. I hope that changes over time. I don't need to feel nervous at all. I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was one of the first live jazz shows that you ever saw that really made you think, man, this is it?
I saw Benny Green with John Clayton and Jeff Hamilton. They were playing in a hotel in Portland. It was part of the jazz festival. My dad took me to go see that, and it just blew my socks off, man. I couldn't believe it. So that's what I want to do. And I believe that was before I saw him at the camp, so I didn't really know who he was. It was a couple of years later after I would actually meet him. But to see that, and they did a Ray Brown tribute that evening, and it just blew me away. Wow.
Right on.
Yeah.
Are you happy with where you're at in your career? I mean, are you happy with what's happened and where you're going?
I'm so happy. I feel so fortunate. There's a long road to go, but I just want to be an ever-evolving artist and a musician and a thinker. And I'm so fortunate to be where I'm at today. Yeah, I love it. Playing with great jazz musicians in Los Angeles. There aren't too many jazz musicians in LA that are doing the straight ahead thing. And, you know, I'm really in touch with the older generation, the Bill Holman Big Band and Henry the Skipper Franklin and Carl Saunders and these different guys that have been a part of the LA scene, and they've taken me under their wing because I have this rich history in my playing. And I'm very fortunate to be a part of this scene here. I love it. I love it.
So if you could get into a jazz DeLorean and go back in time and see anybody anywhere in jazz, who would you go see?
I would love to see Hank Jones. Hank Jones in the prime of his career. I think that would be really special. I never saw him. And Cedar Walton's my second favorite, and I got to see him once in Dizzy's in New York. But Hank Jones would be the number one for me. Just to see him with maybe Ray Brown accompanying Bird, that would be the idyllic concert for me, I think.
Man, that would be mind-blowing. Why do you love jazz?
Why do I love jazz?
Yeah.
It's just a communicative art form, and it's everyone plays it differently and approaches it. Same theory, but everyone uses the language in such a completely different way. I mean, the difference between Cannonball and Paul Desmond or something like that, you know, it's just mind-blowing to have the difference of those guys. Or even Hank Jones and Cedar Walton or Ahmad Jamal. It's just there's such different sounds you can get out of the same 88 keys. You know, it's incredible, and I just want to cultivate my own sound and use this bebop language in my own voice, and that's what really draws me to jazz, the whole communication element of it on stage. Yeah, that's the beauty of it all. I love it.
Right on. Everything's going to come down to this. Everyone has their version, perception of who you are, your family, your friends, your fans, but you know yourself best. Who do you think you are?
Wow. I'm working on not being so self-conscious, being more in the moment, loving myself more and more as the days and years go on. I'm a person who loves the humor in life, and the music should reflect that. I love loving. I love being loved, and just spreading goodness. That's my main goal in life, to spread positivity. And I think I'm trying. I know that I'm embodying this. So, you know, I hope that message comes across in my music. Yeah, that's who I am.
Sam, thanks for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz. I really appreciate it. Good luck with everything. I appreciate
thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, Joe.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest cats in LA, Kansas City, New York City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Sam for his time, music, and cool. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino on the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.